In a surprising and long overdue development, after 9 years of serving as moderator of Meet the Press, Chuck Both Sides Todd recently decided to try acting like a journalist. So something interesting recently happened on NBC's legendary, but very often disappointing political show, Meet the Press. Chuck Todd, who has been moderating the show for about 10 years, has a well-earned reputation for both sides journalism, centristy journalism, the annoying kind. Not the kind which asks tough, appropriate questions of both sides, but rather the kind of journalism that says that both sides, every time, in a debate, in an exchange, on, two sides of an issue, any given issue, are equally valid. That the facts are kind of evenly distributed, and it's really hard to tell which one's more valid than the other. And both deserve the same level of scrutiny, both deserve the same level and number of follow-up questions and things like that. Chuck Todd would be the guy in a debate between a climate change activist and a climate change skeptic, and he'd be thinking, well, they're both equally valid. I mean, is climate change really a settled science? It is. But he would pretend that both sides are equal. He'd be that guy in a debate between a physicist and a flat earther who would be like, well, is round earth really a settled issue, guys? I mean, come on. Have we really seen pictures of the earth? What is round even? He's that guy. So he gets a lot of pushback, justifiably so, from people on the left who correctly recognize that, for the most part, moral and factual validity tends to be more squarely on the side of the left than the right. The left tends to be right about more things more often, by far, than the right does. And Chuck Todd very rarely understands that. But every now and then, it manifests itself. And there was actually a recent exchange with Senator Ron Johnson of Wisconsin. And in the conversation, the subject turned to President Biden's troubled civilian son, Hunter Biden. And I don't know if Chuck Todd lost a bet or if some sort of long dormant gene just snapped on during the exchange, but he actually decided to break with tradition and try to be a journalist. And I guess he heard the things that Johnson was saying and thought that, wow, that sounds kind of sus, and maybe I should ask a follow-up question. Maybe I should push back. So he actually dusted off his professional, adversarial, journalistic pushback, and we got to see it. And I think you all should see it, and because it's pretty interesting.
These are facts, and that's all I'm interested in. I'm interested in the truth, and I think the American public deserves the truth. And again, these investigations, they cover up the truth.
Senator, do you have a crime that you think Hunter Biden committed? Because I've yet to see anybody explain it is not a crime to make money off your last name.
So, Chuck, you ought to read the Marco Polo report, where they detail all kinds of potential crimes. Senator Grass and I certainly uncovered the
potential. Potential is
about $30,000.
Investigation.
I mean, Chuck, is it a crime to be soliciting and purchasing prostitution in potentially European sex trafficking operations? Is that a crime? Because Chuck Grass and I laid out about $30,000 paid by Hunter Biden to those types of individuals over December 2018, 2019, about $30,000. That's about the same time that President Biden offered to pay about $100,000 of Hunter Biden's bills. I mean, again, that's just some information. I don't know exactly
what I don't get. All right, Senator.
It doesn't really look on it sounds sleazy, as you know.
I'll take it at your word that you're ethically bothered by Hunter Biden. I'm curious, though. You seem to have a pattern.
Are you not?
I seem to have a pattern. I'm a journalist. I have to deal in facts. I deal in facts. It says, Senator, my question to you is, I'm always worried. I have skepticism of both parties. I sit here with skepticism of a lot of people's work. And I'm curious, were you at all concerned? Your Senate Democrats want to investigate Jared Kushner's loan from the Qatari government when he was working in the government negotiating many things in the Middle East. Are you not as concerned about that? Are you not concerned about that? And I say that because it seems to me if you're concerned about what Hunter Biden did, you should be equally outraged about what Jared Kushner did.
I'm concerned about getting the truth. I don't target individuals.
You don't? You're targeting Hunter Biden multiple times on this show, Senator. You're targeting an individual.
Chuck, Chuck, part of the problem, and this is pretty obvious to anybody watching this, is you don't invite me on to interview me. You invite me on to argue with me. I'm just trying to lay out the facts that certainly Senator Grassley and I uncovered. They were suppressed. They were censored. They interfered in the 2020 election. Conservatives understand that. Unfortunately, liberals in the media don't. And that's part of the things that, part of the reasons our politics are inflamed is we do not have an unbiased media. We don't. It's unfortunate. I'm all for a free press. It needs to be more unbiased.
Senator,
there's misinformation on both sides, but the censorship and suppression
look, we're trying to do issues here in
from the
facts.
left.
Partisan cable. Look, you can go back on your partisan cable cocoon and talk about media bias all you want. I understand it's part of your identity. Let me move to what happened in Brazil.
Well, how about that? Well done, Chuck Todd. We need to see more of that, Chuck Todd. That's Charles T. Todd right there. I mean, more of that, please. But see, this is the kind of thing that any responsible, objective journalist would do. And see, an objective journalist doesn't treat all sides on every issue in every conflict, with equal skepticism, equal intensity, right? An objective person recognizes the truth, right? And the truth, the truth isn't somewhere between round earth and flat earth, right? Sometimes, very often, the facts favor clearly one side more than the other. And this is an example of Chuck Todd recognizing that. And he's pointing out the hypocrisy of the Republican Party. So as a reminder, Hunter Biden is and has always been a civilian, okay? Whatever his personal troubles, whatever his legal troubles are, he has never worked for President Obama, Vice President Biden. He never worked for President Joe Biden, okay? He is and has always been a civilian. Meanwhile, Jared Kushner, the person that Chuck Todd references on the flip side, that's President Trump's son-in-law. And he was an official member of the Trump White House. He was a senior advisor to President Trump. Therefore, just right out the gate, Jared Kushner does deserve more scrutiny than Hunter Biden. That's the standard that we have always held in this country, that government is going to scrutinize the powerful and other members of government more than just a random civilian, even if they happen to be a person's son. So Jared Kushner should be scrutinized by everybody more than Hunter Biden. But as a follow-up, as a reminder, Hunter Biden has been investigated multiple times, even by Congress, even by Republicans in Congress. Ron Johnson just referenced it. He and Chuck Grassley, back in 2019 or 2020, when Republicans still held the Senate majority, they did an investigation into Hunter Biden. And they found examples of nepotism, right, where he cashed in on his father's name, I'm a Biden, blah, 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 which is certainly sleazy, certainly corrupt, but that's, as Chuck Todd points out, it's not illegal. Nepotism isn't illegal, and it's also very common in the Beltway. It's really common everywhere. A lot of people use their family connections. But he was investigated by congressional Republicans, and they couldn't find any evidence of a crime. They found evidence of, again, sleaziness and arguable corruption, but no crime, and no crime for his father, Joe Biden. But even beyond that, Hunter Biden is the subject of multiple federal law enforcement investigations. He's been investigated for tax liabilities under the Obama administration. He's been investigated by a Trump-appointed U.S. attorney since the Trump administration, and that investigation has been allowed to continue under the Biden administration. Joe Biden is allowing a Trump-appointed U.S. attorney, who he could fire at any given time, to investigate his son. Hunter Biden's been investigated, okay? But what about Jared Kushner? Why don't they want Jared Kushner to be investigated, especially when Jared Kushner was a member of the U.S. government? Well, it's because the standards are asymmetrical. It's okay for Republicans and members of the Trump inner circle to behave corruptly despite their active role in government, but it's not okay for anybody else. Like that, we only scrutinize Democrats, civilian or government, it doesn't matter. You can only scrutinize Democrats. Meanwhile, as the Citizens for Responsible Ethics article in Washington points out, Jared Kushner didn't waste any time turning his role in the Trump White House into potential business opportunities. He inked a $2 billion investment from people in Saudi Arabia, from dignitaries and officials in Saudi Arabia, like the Qatari government, the same dignitaries and officials that he routinely courted as a senior White House advisor under his father-in-law. So in the Trump White House, Jared Kushner was an attaché and a liaison in Saudi Arabia. He often, he rubbed elbows with powerful Saudi Arabian interests. And then when President Trump loses his election and the Kushners leave the White House, he gets, as a civilian, a $2 billion investment from the Saudi government, despite the fact and over objections from the fund's advisors. The fund's advisors advised these Saudi dignitaries, do not make a deal with this man. And they did it anyway. That sure sounds like corruption to me. Why don't Republicans want to investigate? Well, because they're obsessed with Hunter Biden. And so this is a great moment from Chuck Todd. I'm glad he pointed out the hypocrisy. We need more of this from Chuck and more of this from journalists everywhere. Hey, you! Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, and I hope that you did, please hit the like and subscribe buttons below. And if you absolutely hated the video, the best revenge for you is also to hit the like and subscribe buttons below. That'll teach me. If you want to share an opinion or share some feedback, go ahead and leave a comment, all right? 2023 is a year of change, hence the aggressive rebrand and commitment to new content. Inspired by my friends Luke Beasley and STV Philly, my personal goal for this channel is to hit 40,000 subscribers by the end of the year. So I'm hoping you'll do me a solid by spreading the word and the videos to potential fans and hate watchers alike. And in the meantime, we'll be pondering politics again with you very soon.